Alright, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Long time no see. It's been a little bit over a month since I've actually filmed a video about anything on the channel. It was Christmas and then I ended up getting sick and still am, but nonetheless we have parts for the A3 once again, and we're going to be doing a little bit of a preventive maintenance slash modification today on the A3. And so without further ado, today we are actually going to be installing a PCV delete, which includes our catch can. This is one of the most popular mods that get done to TFSIs and some TSIs and some FSIs. And what it does is it basically removes your positive crankcase ventilation as they tend to fail with the diaphragm on the inside, and it lets oil bypass through your intake system, and in my case through my turbocharger and then into my intake valves, and that's how we get the infamous carbon buildup that the TFSI motors are plagued with. And this little guy here is gonna help prevent that and hopefully eliminate it altogether. So without further ado, if you are following this as a tutorial to install yours, it's actually quite straightforward, but we're gonna start with pulling the engine cover off. Get that guy out of the way. And the first thing you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna undo your coil packs. So there's 4 tabs, 1 per coil pack. Be very, very careful when you're removing these connectors, as they do tend to break and are very brittle. And you're gonna wanna pop those bad boys off. Just like that, the rail is off. All right, so next thing you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna remove the coil packs out of cylinder 3 and 4, as it gets in the way of what we're gonna call the Africa plate for now, or just your whole PCV. So we're gonna go ahead and pull those bad boys out. And I have just a short little pry bar. Be careful if you are gonna use one so that you don't pry on something you shouldn't. And just very easily, with a low amount of torque, you're gonna pull cylinder 3 and cylinder 4. All right, so next thing you're gonna need to remove the Africa plate or the PCV is you're gonna need a T30 Torx bit. Go ahead and throw that on a ratchet. Just to loosen the bolts, I would put it on a ratchet. I wouldn't brat these off with like a 3/8 impact or anything, just because you don't want to break anything in the event that you need to go back to stock. So you want to keep all of your parts in the best condition possible. So break them loose with a ratchet, and then your choice of how you want to speed run those guys out. So with all of the bolts now out of the PCV, we're gonna go ahead and remove all of the hoses that lead to the PCV. So you got this one here, you can either undo it from here or undo it from there on the PCV, and then we also have the one that goes directly to the intake pipe. You're gonna have to disconnect it from back there because we need to reuse this little section right here anyways. So let's go ahead and remove those. We're just gonna go ahead and remove the whole Africa plate now. And just be careful now, because this area is exposed in your engine and those are your cams. You don't wanna drop anything in there. That would be very bad. So don't drop anything in there or else you're gonna have a really bad day. So now with both of those pipes removed and out of the way, let's just clean around the Africa plate. You can use like a sensor cleaner or something just to kind of clean this area up before we put the old seal onto the new plate and install that. So go ahead and give that a quick cleanup, and I actually got to change batteries, so I'm just gonna do that off screen. Pull the green gasket that is out of your Africa plate, PCV, and install it into your new one, or if you're gonna go balls to the walls here and you have a new gasket, install it into your new PCV delete and everything, and we're gonna go ahead and slap that guy on there, and then we're gonna get the bolts out of the box, because you should have some new ones, and we'll get this thing going. I'm actually gonna pull the lines off here. I don't know why I put them on already. So we're just kind of getting these hand tight in here first, and then we'll come back around and give them a proper torque. Always go in a star pattern so that any gaskets that you have underneath are spread out evenly. All right, so next thing we're actually gonna do is we're gonna mount the catch can just so we can get to routing the lines. So it gets actually mounted just in front of the washer tank. Alright, so that's the catch can installed. There's a little spacer underneath here and then a long bolt to go in. It's only on one, so I don't know how well that's gonna hold in there, but I've got it basically mounted as hard as I can. This is the block off for this hose, and it also does have a small screw in it, and that's basically, if you ever want to run a boost gauge, that's basically the easiest boost tap you have right there. And all these are torqued down, so now we're gonna install the lines to the catch can. All right, so there are the catch can lines installed. Correct feed pattern is basically just closest to closest and then farthest to farthest. So we're gonna tighten up the little bracket line here, and I'll do that off camera, and then we're gonna throw the intake to Africa plate pipe back in as well. All right, now we can go ahead and throw some coil packs back in because that is the installation complete. It looks so cool. It looks like extra race car. I love it. It's the CTS turbo kit. I was gonna buy the 034 Motorsports kit, but it was so much more expensive. I'm not entirely sure if the catch can on the CTS kit has a copper filter at all, but I know it has like 4-layer baffling on the intake and the outside, so we'll see how well that does. And then it also has a removable dipstick on the top, so you don't have to pull it out the bottom to check how full it is. Let's pull those coils in and let's start this puppy up. I always forget how goddamn loud my car is, oh my god. Alright, so it has been about a week since we installed the catch can into the A3, and just to kind of end this video off, I want to show you guys what actually gets caught in this catch can. I've never actually experienced draining a catch can or like taking one apart or anything, so this is going to be an experience for all of us right now. So I'm just going to quickly unscrew the catch can now, and we're going to take a look and see how much and if what we've actually collected. This is what has been caught in the catch can. It is definitely not the consistency of oil right now, so I'm assuming there's a lot of moisture mixed in with this, as well as you can look on the sides of the can, and it's like, if you've ever seen what a blown head gasket looks like, kind of makes this like milky substance, and which is like water and or coolant mixing with oil. I guess that's pretty interesting. So we're going to talk a little bit about some science and about condensation and all that stuff really quick. Some of you that I know are probably going to see this and be like, oh my god, there's so much water in your catch can, your engine's done, like blah blah blah, that kind of thing. But I want to point something out to you guys. It's also winter in Canada right now, and so when you have condensation inside your engine and you're separating it from very, very hot area to cold area, the water will form and no longer be vapor. So you're catching a lot more water that's inside from natural condensation of your engine, and it's getting separated by the catch can and the baffles into your catch can, and that's why I'm catching so much water and it's a bit sludgy.
because it is mixing with the oil that it is catching. But in the winter, this is completely normal to be catching a lot of water, especially in very cold climates such as Canada. And normally it isn't that cold, and I did install it right before we were getting hit by -5, -10 degree temperatures Celsius, which is pretty cold for you Americanos. But yeah, this isn't really anything to worry about. I would be worried if it was doing this and it was 20 degrees Celsius outside, which is about like 80 degrees Fahrenheit for you Americans. But right now it's cold, so there's nothing else that should be in here. Empty this guy out, clean my baffles out and reinstall it, and then I will check it again in 2 weeks, and maybe we'll update again in another video. That's all I got for you guys today as far as catch can stuff goes. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope this was helpful and persuades you to potentially get a catch can and gives you some information on whether or not you want to buy one. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I know about 95% of all the views I'm getting right now are people who aren't subscribed, so if you're one of those people, make sure you subscribe. I've got a lot more content on the way, and we might potentially be putting a big boy turbo in this pretty quick here. So thank you guys, thanks for watching, and peace out.